You know, you think about what we've witnessed over the past 2.5 years, and when the boomerang was going to come back around to Israel, which it has. Now, unfortunately, as sad as this is to have to say, Ben-Gvir is still alive. And he decided to stick his neck out.
That was too good to be true.
Yeah, he stuck his neck out over the weekend to, I don't know if this is in English or not. I know somebody captured it through international media. But basically, he says to the effect that Iran is committing crimes against humanity.
אנחנו נמצאים כאן בערד, נס גדול שיש כאן, ושוב, אני קורא לתושבים להישמע להוראות פיקוד העורף, להיכנס למקלטים, לממ"דים, כשיש התראות, כשיש אזעקות. הייתה כאן התראה, ואנחנו חייבים להמשיך לקטוש את האיראנים עד ה-10.
We need this translated. It's not, this isn't worth it.
Yeah, so my Hebrew is spotty these days.
Evidently, what he was saying is because Iran fired missiles at Arad, I guess is the name of the community. A-R-A-D is the name of the community in Israel.
Yeah.
That it apparently killed some civilians.
That's
and this son of a bitch is coming out there talking about crimes against humanity.
It's
Colin,
I don't even know. It's ridiculous. Like, this is the most ridiculous thing I mean.
Well, he's an evil bastard. Like, there are people, as I said in the post that we put out earlier today, if Netanyahu is the face of the terror state, then Gvir is the vessel. He is the vessel. This is a person who has no humanity. It doesn't exist. He's a total psychopath, and he believes that Israel is the benevolent nation to end all benevolent nations, and as such, they can do what they want. And the second that they're attacked, again, he doesn't sound so tough. You know, the guy's always got a lot to say. He's always running his mouth, and now all of a sudden, he's out there talking about, oh, do you see what Iran is doing to us? I got to tell you, no one fucking cares. No one's going to care when you're no more.
Yeah, Zach, what are your thoughts on Iran committing war crimes?
Well, I think if there's any country who has a good basis to judge on what is a war crime and what isn't, it would probably be them. And I think this is a clear and obvious piece of evidence to what we've all learned, you know, at least I've learned over the last 4 years, of what the term goyim is. And the fact that they truly value their life to be worth more than everybody else's. And that's not just Iranians, it's Americans, it's the Chinese, it's Australians, it's anybody who is not Jewish. And we're seeing that play out right now, where they're begging the UN to now have an emergency meeting, all these European countries. And it's based off of, oh, God, you got the screen pulled up. We'll show
No, it's fine. Keep going.
No, it's I was having a conversation with a YouTuber, his name's Tommy G, today, actually. We had like a 30-minute conversation of just, when is something going to happen that gets people to stand up and do something about this? And we're both kind of on the same page of, we've seen enough. We've seen quite enough. And this is just another example of they seemingly can do whatever they would like to whatever end. And we're just simply going to sit here and watch it. And, you know, people like me complain about it online, but when are we going to get in the streets and actually do something about this? I don't know.
Now, you're based in Delaware?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in 3 weeks, about 3 weeks, Jen and I will be in D.C. for the Doctors Against Genocide event.
So, Peter, everybody on the East Coast lives near enough to D.C. that they could just drive on over and hang with us.
I'll be in D.C. on Wednesday. Yeah, I go to D.C. probably every 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, so April 15th.
I'm there.
We're meeting up with the Doctors Against Genocide that are going to be doing anything there. What?
I just said that. So this is a statement from Gvir about a year and a half ago. Allowing aid into Gaza is a historic mistake. Now, if you scroll up, there's another quote that he put out there. Scroll a little further down, please. The only thing that needs to enter Gaza are hundreds of tons of explosives from the Air Force, not an ounce of humanitarian aid.
Did he say that or miss? That sounds like a Miss Rachel type quote.
Well, that.
Very loving.
Yeah, it's
the worst part about American culture in so many respects is that people tend to forget things very quickly. They tend to forget how evil these people are.
I don't think anyone's forgetting that. I want to say something that I saw. I caught a clip of supposedly Milikowski making his comment about the civilian areas that were hit and, you know, how that's a war crime, which, yeah, again, I don't care. But he purposefully, specifically said that this is the holiest of places for all the Abrahamic religions. So you've got the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and he mentions these things. And I can't believe he's mentioning those things when all they do is attack those things. That's all they do is attack those things and the people that try to pray at those places. They spit on the Christians that go to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and they spit on the Arabs that go to the Al-Aqsa Mosque. So why is he so upset about those being hurt?
Well, speaking of being upset, Colin, can I have the Smotrich tweet, please?
Oh, another piece of shit. You know what? We need to bring back the hit list, because I'm not going to make it through this without taking a hit. So I'm just telling you that right now.
So evidently, Mr. Smotrich's son is clinging for dear life because evidently he decided to go into southern Lebanon, which again, what in the fuck is he doing there? I don't know, but he wants you to feel sad. Good morning. After another night by our hero's side, who, thank God, passed a bit more calmly than yesterday, we continue to progress, God willing. Please continue to pray for the healing of Binyamin Chevron, son of Rivadon.
Binyamin. They'd say Binyamin.
It's all bullshit to me.
All right, I'm just, okay.
Among all the wounded of the IDF and the sick of Israel.
So for people who aren't aware, Smotrich's son is in, I don't know if he's in a vegetative state or if he's in intensive care. And I don't know what happened to him. I don't know what was the cause of it. I don't know if it was a war injury. I don't care. They get no sympathy. I really don't care.
And Jen, speaking of sympathy,
yeah,
if I'm ever in a vegetative state and you decide to come take a selfie with my lifeless body,
exactly,
I'm gonna wake up ticked. Like
exactly.
It's
clearly a PR stunt that doesn't have any actual love for the person on that medical bed.
No, he don't care.
Well, they don't. No idea. They're disconnected from reality. No. And that's the whole truth about all of this, is that they truly do not understand that the world is turning against them. And the good news is that because it's been so exceptionally over the top inhumane in everything that they do and everything that's interconnected with everything that's been going on, it should not come as any surprise that now you're starting to see instances like this that I'm sure you saw earlier today, where Dan Bongino is getting his comeuppance when he shows up at a public event. As Jen says, none of them deserve a moment's peace. They should be driven into complete leprosy. They should never be seen in public. They should just basically put out to pasture. That is what criminals against humanity should have to face. I hope Iran cuts the power to the hospital. His son is, well,
it wouldn't be, yeah, I mean, it would be with, via Hezbollah, but yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
So this happened over the weekend.
How did you put your name on it?
You're a pedophile protector. A pedophile protector. Pedophile protector. I was a cop for 9 years. You're a pedophile protector, faggot. You're a pedophile protector.
See, now, was that necessary?
Fuck you.
Okay, don't start with that shit. Listen, sometimes
you know what? I don't care.
No, I'm taking over this. So
that's rude.
There was a South Park episode that I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, that was done years ago, where the F word.
Well, I'm sure he's talking to you.
To describe assholes on motorcycles. So they call them fags. And they're like, But that's a derogatory term against gay people. Like, we're not talking about gay people. We're just talking about these guys. We just happen to use this word. And when he's talking,
that sounds like people that think it's okay to use the N-word and they just say, well, we don't mean them.
Whatever it is that they mean, sometimes when you are enraged at somebody, you will say words that just naturally are thrown out there to sting at somebody, not because you're trying to offend everybody else. Again, it's by suppressing speech, you make it worse. You don't make it better. When you put it in the shadows and you want people to just pretend like they don't think anything, I want to live in a world where people just say what they think. That's the world I want to live in.
All right,
I think the whole book of vernacular is up for grabs when you literally run for your position on doing one specific thing, releasing the Epstein list, and you resort to protecting pedophiles.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But it has nothing to do with whether or not somebody's sexual orientation is homosexual, right? Like, why do you need to yell out some rude slur that may or may not have anything to do with this guy?
But that's what I'm saying. He wasn't calling him the F word.
Of course he wasn't. He was just exactly. I understand.
Yeah,
I understand
you know
that.
What he was calling, Jen, you know what he was calling? Zach, you know this. He wasn't calling him a fag. He was calling him a bitch, is what he was calling him. He used a different way of calling him a bitch.
That would have been, you know what? And if he called him a bitch, it would have been better. He could have called him a cunt.
Because
I would have appreciated cunt.
You love that word. It's amazing
how
much you love that word.
I do.
Wait,
you promised me a Zio pussy story that I was going to get to use the Zio pussy graphic.
What I also want to point out, if you remember, he joins the FBI at the same time as the joke of a man who should not even be named. But when he's up there doing his Valhalla shit, you know, Bongino, yeah, something like that. I mean, that's like
Bongino is actually hilarious. That should get used more. That's great. That's great.
That's Bongino.
He did that, I guess, was it like a Christmas sit down with his wife? And she asked him, what's most important to you? Oh, Israel. I'm thinking, no one thinks like that. No one talks like that. The only way you do that is if you're paid or you're instructed. That's the only two options. So when Bongino, who's acting Mr. Tough Guy, and how I'm going to kick some ass, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Epstein killed himself. I'm sure of it. There was no sexual trafficking. There were no minor incidents. Can I go now? That's basically it. It's hostage video. That's what happened. And now when a guy who actually has some credentials says you are a bitch and you're a pedophile protector, and he like tries to get all like tough about it, like, who are you getting tough to? You were in a position to do something. You did nothing. There are countless victims out there, many of whom are dead, either by choice or not by choice, because you chose not to do anything. And Cash is not going to do anything either, because again, this in so many respects is the true silver lining of having a Trump in the White House. There are no secrets anymore. The things that were kept in the shadows before, they're all out in the open now. And now people can see our government for what it really is, how they treat people, how they think of people. And once the populace at large, A, knows how the government feels about them, and B, can't afford to live, like you said, what is it going to take? I'm not sure if it's going to be just like one moment where everything just kind of comes together. But I do think that the more we collaborate together as a united front against this Zionist billionaire oligarchy, that's how it's going to be.